You've probably wondered, right? How did companies like Dropbox or Airbnb just explode onto the scene? I mean, they went from these tiny little startups to absolute global giants, and it felt like it happened overnight. Well, I can tell you it wasn't just good luck, and it definitely wasn't some huge ad budget. They used this totally different playbook called growth hacking, and that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to break down exactly how it works. Okay, so let's just get right to it. Picture the old way, right? Traditional marketing. You're talking about huge budgets, big, expensive campaigns that are mostly based on a gut feeling. And you've got teams that don't even talk to each other. They're all in their own little silos. Now, contrast that with growth hacking. It's lean, it's fast, it's smart. Every single decision is driven by data, and the teams, they're all working together cross-functionally to solve the same problem. It's not just a small change, it's a completely different way of thinking. So here's the plan for our little journey today. First, we'll touch on why the old way of marketing is just, well, broken. Then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of the growth hacking method itself. After that, we'll talk about who you actually need to build a great growth team. We'll look at some amazing real-world examples, the fun stuff, and finally wrap it up by talking about how to build a growth engine that lasts. All right, let's do this. All right, first things first, let's really dig into the problem. I mean, why are those old school marketing tactics, the ones everyone used to swear by, just not getting the job done anymore? In a world that moves this fast, they're really falling short. You know the drill, right? A company decides to go big. They pour millions of dollars into some massive TV ad campaign. The ads are out there, the money's gone, and then what? They wait, and they wait. We're talking weeks, sometimes even months, before they get any real hard data on whether it actually worked. By that point, who knows? The entire market could have changed. And the worst part? The marketing folks who came up with the ad have probably never even had a real conversation with the engineers who built the product. So making quick changes based on feedback, forget about it. This whole approach isn't just slow and crazy expensive, it's actually super risky. So, okay, if the old way is busted, what's the alternative? Well, that brings us right to the growth hacking method. And believe me, it's a completely different paradigm for how to think about and actually get business growth. Now, let's be super clear about one thing. Growth hacking is not about finding some secret silver bullet trick. It's just not. It's a methodical, almost scientific process. Think of it like this. You're constantly running tons of small, super fast experiments on everything. Marketing, the product itself, sales, you name it. And the whole goal is to use real data to figure out what actually truly works to grow the business. So what does this process actually look like? Well, at its core, it's this simple, powerful, and kind of relentless cycle. Step 1, ideate. The team just brainstorms like crazy, any idea, big or small, that might lead to growth. Step 2, prioritize. You can't do everything at once, so you figure out what's most promising. Step 3, test. You run a small, quick experiment. And step 4, analyze. You look at the data. Did it work? Why? Why not? And here's the most important part. You take those learnings and you do it all over again. You just keep looping, getting smarter and faster every single time. Okay, but if you have 100 ideas, how in the world do you decide where to even start? A really popular tool for this is something called the ICE score. It's super simple. For every single idea, you ask 3 questions. I is for impact. How big of a deal will this be if it works? That keeps you focused on your main goal. C is for confidence. How sure are we that this is going to work? This really forces you to use data, not just wishful thinking. And finally, E is for ease. How easy is this to actually do? This helps you keep moving fast. That simple score, impact, confidence, ease, is a game changer for focusing your energy on the right stuff. But, a process is only as good as the people running it. So, who are these people? What does a modern growth team actually look like? And here's the secret. It's not really about a specific job title on a business card. It's all about a shared mindset. People on a growth team are just curious. They're constantly asking, what if? They make decisions based on data, not on someone's opinion or ego. They think like entrepreneurs. They love to collaborate. And this one is so important. They're actually okay with failure. Because for them, a failed test isn't a mistake. It's just a lesson learned on the way to the next great idea. And that mindset is exactly why those old school departmental silos are like kryptonite for growth. A real growth team smashes those walls down. You're bringing marketers, product people, engineers, and data scientists all together into one single team. When you have all those different skills in one room,
You can attack a problem from every possible angle. And maybe most importantly, you can actually get stuff done fast, without all the red tape.
Okay, enough with the theory, right? Does this whole rapid-fire, experiment-driven thing actually work in the real world? Oh, it does. Let's get to the good stuff and look at some of the most legendary examples of growth hacking. So let's take a trip back to the early days of Dropbox. They had this amazing product that people absolutely loved, but they had a huge problem. They were broke. They couldn't afford big splashy ads. It's that classic startup question. How do you get the word out when you have no money? Well, their solution wasn't some clever ad. It was a genius little growth hack that they built right into the product. What they did was just brilliant in its simplicity. They offered free storage space, which is, the whole reason you use Dropbox, to both the person who referred a friend and the friend who signed up. It was a perfect win-win. This created this incredible viral loop. Users had a real reason to share it, and new people got a bonus for signing up. The result? It was insane. A massive exponential explosion in signups, and it was all powered by their existing customers. And here's another classic. In the beginning, the Airbnb team had a really smart insight. They realized that the people they wanted to reach, hosts and guests looking for rentals, weren't on Airbnb yet. Where were they? They were all on Craigslist. So instead of trying to fight Craigslist, they decided to leverage it. They built this simple little tool that let their hosts cross-post their much nicer Airbnb listings onto Craigslist with just one click. And boom, a fire hose of perfect customers started flowing right back to their website. So clever. Look, these individual hacks are amazing. They really are. But the real goal of growth hacking isn't just about finding a few clever tricks. It's about something much bigger. It's about building a sustainable system, a growth engine that runs all the time. So what does that mean, building a growth engine? It means you weave this whole process right into your company's DNA. That cycle of experimenting, it's not a special project. It's just what you do every day. It means creating a culture where data wins arguments, not opinions. And where you're always learning, always adapting. That's how you turn growth from a lucky lightning strike into something predictable and scalable. It really all comes back to this quote from Sean Ellis, the guy who basically invented the term growth hacking. He said it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a mindset of just continually testing, learning, and adapting. That really nails it, doesn't it? So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that growth hacking isn't some exclusive club for Silicon Valley startups. Not at all. It's a way of thinking. It's a process that literally any business can use to get smarter and grow faster. And that really just leaves us with one final question, a challenge for you, really. Forget about changing the whole world overnight. What's one small, simple, measurable experiment that your business could run this week?